This video is for the article, The Story of Pixar. Had a pretty straightforward text structure. It was chronological. The title of this article is a big hint for that. The story of will usually tell something from beginning to end about something. Also, there were a lot of dates throughout it, and we just learned about how Pixar went from one thing to another. I liked this article because it gave you something that you're familiar with. These movies that were mentioned in this article you've either seen or heard of. And so I thought it was kind of interesting to find out how Pixar wasn't always around just to make movies. So that's where my annotations took me. What I learned about Pixar, what changed from paragraph to paragraph. A who and what would have been pretty good here as well, because we learned about the people and we learned about the technology, so it kind of shifted in those things. But I just went with my nice short annotations that pull out the main idea. So we open with learning about Toy Story. A lot of people love it, and much like Toy Story, people really enjoy all of the movies that Pixar did because they teamed animation with a good storyline. So it's not just about the technology, it's also about how great of a story told. But then we learned Pixar wasn't originally meant for films, it was a special computer. So that kind of gives us a little bit of suspense. It's like, well, how did a computer go to make films? I guess we'll find out. So then we learned about the people that helped with that. We had George Lucas, who made Star Wars, and joined on a team with lesser-known people to come together to do Lucasfilm. They found out how impressive this computer was and how it could benefit the space program. And so they went to old Steve Jobs, a guy who has ideas and makes a lot of money, and he bought Pixar and was like, great, let's sell this to hospitals. And even after that happened, they were noticing, well, this is too expensive to do it like this, let's do making films. So basically how I read this one is that there was probably a sort of pitch they had to do to say, hey, Steve, and all, but can we please make movies? And so they did it, and they made a short film, and it was nominated for an Academy Award. Big deal. And so then they kept going, and they kept getting better. And so they created this thing called Render Man. And that led them to another short film that won them an actual award. So here they were just nominated, here they won an award. But then we learned, even through winning these awards, they were still struggling financially. And that changed until Toy Story came out. All of the nominations, and then they came out with A Bug's Life, and then all of these other movies that came out, other Pixar movies, Finding Nemo, The Incredible, and Cars, all movies that we're familiar with. This is just adding evidence to the fact that they went through some struggle. Now they have a great amount of success. So much so that other movies try to model that, to use this kind of the realistic animation and also the likable characters and interesting stories, because you need all of those for a good movie, right? Okay, so the takeaway from here was that this was just a story of Pixar, as the title tells you, and just the interesting shift that they went through, where they went from having this computer and how that turned into them making movies. So hopefully y'all found it an interesting read. I did. And now you can look at the questions.